What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers are more than likely going to make some type of trade at some point. They can't really make a big trade until the earliest January 15th. I wouldn't expect a, Levine or DeJounte Murray or any like the big name trades. I kind of lean towards probably closer to the trade deadline, but the Lakers are very likely going to make a swing some way, somehow. Whether it's multiple pieces, whether it's a big piece, whether it's a big piece and then a small piece, right? Such as like say a Zach LaVine and a Andre Drummond, or maybe you go get a Zach LaVine and maybe you go get like a Miles Bridges, something like that, right? But regardless, whatever the Lakers end up doing on the trade front, they're very likely going to trade D'Angelo Russell and possibly even Gabe Vincent. So with that, you're going to need another playmaking guard. You're going to need another kind of point guard. You don't necessarily need somebody to come in and play heavy minutes because LeBron James is more than capable of playing the point guard. Austin Reeves, I'm not super sold on Austin Reeves as your like secondary playmaker without LeBron, right? Austin Reeves has struggled with on-ball pressure at times. He can find the open man. He can find the occasional cutter, but he's not great at just getting things and creating things and allowing things to develop. He gets tunnel vision a lot at times. So you could use that guy that could come in, just play a solid role, maybe give you 10, 15 minutes off the bench in a playmaking role. Now, obviously, there's the buyout market, right? That could potentially lead to something. But in the meantime, I do think the Lakers could look to maybe 10-day contracts, which the Lakers can now officially start signing as a way to go, okay, well, let's give a couple guards a chance. I already did a video on centers, so go check that video out after this video. But do think another option would be to kind of experiment with some point guards, give them an opportunity, and then see, okay, like maybe this is the guy that we can bring in and kind of give him a real opportunity in a real role, in a backup role, or maybe even a more prominent role. It depends on what the trade looks like. So I want to dive into a couple names that are on the free agency market that the Lakers give a look at. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments and let me know any players that maybe you're interested in that aren't on this list. Again, these are just free agents on a 10-day contract. Again, let me know, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into it. So the first one, it also would be my favorite option, is Kevin Porter Jr. Now, I don't believe Kevin Porter Jr. is realistic at the moment currently, and I guess you could classify him as a two-guard more than a point guard. So I guess you could classify it either way, and if I do one on two guards, then maybe I'll throw him on that one too. But the reason I don't think Kevin Porter Jr. is realistic is just because of all of the things that are going on with him in his personal life, right? And I don't think that any team is going to give him an opportunity until all of that is basically in the wind. So that's kind of why I don't lean towards it. Now, just for basketball's sake, Kevin Porter Jr. makes a world of sense for the Lakers. Gives you a young, promising talent that could come in, play a bench role, right? Provide just 20 points a game scoring, right? On any given night, minimum 15. Like, he could be a very solid contributor, right? This season, before he ended up getting traded and waived, he was averaging 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists with 1.4 steals. So he's a guy that can get it done on both sides of the basketball, a guy that can shoot the three ball also, which is good. You need that. He's not great or elite, but the last 2 years has basically been 37, 38% from three. So that would be nice. Young talent that you keep long term. Lakers have also had a lot of success with guys that kind of need to rebrand their image, rebrand their careers. But again, to me, this is a guy that the Lakers would probably look at in the offseason rather than this season. But time will tell. You never know. That's why I wanted to put it on the list. But now a more realistic target would be a guy like an Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers is currently a free agent. He's still only 31 years old, so he's still very young. 6'4". He's a guy that can make plays. He can play on the ball. He can play off the ball. He can play your point guard position. He can play your two-guard position. A guy that, look, he's not great, but if you're just playing him in a minimal role, I do think he's a guy that could make sense for the Lakers, right? Especially, again, if you're trading a D'Lo and a Gabe Vincent and whatever else, then you're going to need bodies at the point and the two guard, right? If you have Max Christie, then great. That's a two guard that you could play. But what happens if the Lakers end up trading Max Christie, right? Austin Reeves and his ability to play either, I think would make a lot of sense. And you look at him, like even last year for Minnesota, he played in 19 and a half minutes. He averaged 5 points, 1.5 rebounds, one and a half assists, half a steal, and half a block. Again, not great numbers, but you're not asking for him to come in and play a big role. You're probably not having him play even 19 and a half minutes, right? You're probably looking at him to come in and just play around, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes a game. Some games he might not even have he might not even play much, but he is a guy that can occasionally go off and go give you, a 15, 20 point game. All the Lakers would really need is for him to come in and give us, say in 15 minutes, can he give us like 5 and 3, right? I'm talking about assists, right? To me, that's perfect. You don't, again, because you don't need some big star to come in and kind of disrupt things. You just need somebody that can kind of get after it, provide some energy off the bench, give you some occasional scoring, make some plays. Austin Rivers isn't a great playmaker by any stretch of the imagination, but again, the pool is limited as far as like guys that are available currently. And you also got to look at it like all these guys are available for a reason, right? So just something else to keep in mind. Another option would be kind of more of a veteran route. Bringing in a guy like George Hill. Now, George Hill has familiarity playing alongside LeBron James. George Hill is also the kind of guy that usually pairs excellent with LeBron James because he has the ability to play off the ball. This is also a guy who's a career 38% three-point shooter, so that would be excellent. He hasn't played this season. He did play for Indiana in the previous season in 11 games. He played 15 minutes a game. He also shot an insane 52.4% from three on 2 attempts per game, which that would be amazing if he could do that, right? Because again, that's all we're looking for. Somebody come in 10, 15 minutes. If in 15 minutes, he can just do for us what he did for Indiana last year, which was basically 5 points, 2 assists, basically 2 rebounds, rounded up 2 rebounds, a steal, and a block. That's great. Again, that's all you really need. This is also a guy that is a veteran that has kind of been there, done that. He's a guy that can play the point guard. He can play the 2 guard. He's, again, a bit older at 37, but you're looking for a guy that's minimal. You're looking for a guy that I think would bring a lot of value beyond just the basketball court play, right? And you're talking about a guy that's 6'4" for a point guard. That's really good point guard wise. So I look at him like he could be a guy that not only could provide some quality minutes, but he's also a guy that can come in and be a good locker room presence, be a good just vet, right? You need those. You need those guys that can be voices in the locker room, that have experience, that people look to as a vet, as a reliability. Think of like Jared Dudley and his impact, right? Like bringing in a guy like George Hill, I think could do a lot. Again, not my favorite pick, but the pool is very limited. But next up, John Wall. Now, I don't like the idea of bringing John Wall in because I think he just does a lot of things that Russell Westbrook did, just worse. And I think that you're going to have concerns with fit, right? But if he's strictly just a bench guy that you're bringing in for maybe 10 minutes a game, I don't hate it, right? He's still only 33 years old. His last stint obviously was with the Clippers. The Lakers, there was a lot of talks about, are the Lakers going to trade for John Wall, for Russell Westbrook at one point? Like that was a real narrative. But you look at last year for the Clippers, he played in averaged 22 minutes a game in 34 games. He averaged 11 and a half points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and half a block. All right. I mean, that's not terrible. He can't really shoot threes. He only shot 30% from 3 on 3 attempts per game. He did shoot 40% from the field, which is not great, but he didn't take a ton of attempts, right? He only averaged basically 10 attempts per game. He started in 3 of the games for them. So as just like that guy off the bench that could give you a change of pace, give you just a different look from some of the other guys, provide some athleticism out on the perimeter, right? I mean, I don't hate it, but it would kind of be towards the end of my options. Like, I would almost prefer George Hill over him just because Yes, George Hill being 37 is a concern and stuff, but I just think that George Hill, he's a guy that can kind of complement LeBron, has, ability, where John Wall, he has no ability to play off the ball. He needs the ball in his hands, right? Yes, he's a guy that could go give you 10 and 5, which would be great off the bench, right? I mean, he could probably give you at minimum 8 and 4 in 10 minutes of play or 12 minutes of play or whatever, right? So him coming in 15 minutes, I do think that he could give you production off the bench, but defensively he would be a bit of a liability. And you probably can't play him alongside like a LeBron James or anything. Like, let's say, just argument's sake, let's say you trade for Zach LaVine. For me, you would have to essentially go with like John Wall, Austin Reeves, or maybe LaVine. Go with like a Taurean Prince, Christian Wood, and then have a center, right? Maybe you go with AD, something like that. Like as like a lineup with Wall out, where you basically have him just kind of driving and kicking and getting to the rim where he can get to the rim. It's kind of how I look at it. Again, not my favorite option. I don't absolutely hate it, but it's not something that I think just because of fit. We saw what happened with Russell Westbrook. I don't think that I just see this being another Westbrook situation, although it would be only a limited run, right? I don't think the Lakers are keeping him long term, and if it does work, then you can probably keep him cheap. So, I don't know. Tough spot to be in. But lastly, Goran Dragic, right? Now, he retired, again, 37, but, could you maybe convince him to come back? I really like the idea of him, right? Kind of convince him, like, hey, man, I know you just recently retired, but we could give you a prominent role, right, on this roster where, his last stint was with Milwaukee, and there was just questions of, like, how many minutes can he play, right? You go to him and be like, hey, we're not going to play you 20, 30 minutes, but, we can give you basically 15 minutes a game, which is, he played 12 minutes with Milwaukee in the 2022-2023 season, but he was averaging like 15 and a half with Chicago. You're in LA, right? Playing with LeBron and AD and guys like that. Like, to me, he is a guy that, again, is just, he's a veteran that can come in. He is a guy that has been there, done that. He has been huge. I mean, in that Miami finals run against the Lakers, he was arguably their second best player. He was ridiculous. And then he got hurt because he was torching folks. He's a guy that I'd really like on the roster. He's somebody that I've wanted on the Lakers for basically his entire career. But he's a guy that I think, again, you kind of lean towards and you go, like, I don't think it's realistic. That's why I put him towards the end of the list. But he would be solid. He'd be a great pickup. But anyway, again, this is the list. What do you think? Do you like any of these guys? Do you not? Is there anybody that you'd add to this list? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you all. See you in the next one. Thank you.